Hi there, my name is Stuart Shugg and I am a dancer with the Trisha Brown Dance Company, and this past week we've been performing at the Joyce Theatre two of Trisha's works, Astral, Convertible and Foray Foray. And I've been asked if today I could teach a small class for online, or what I would do to warm up for the program each night. So I thought I would lead you through a simple warm-up that I do, which you can follow along with. It's probably best if you follow along rather than just watching. And for me to warm up in Trisha's work, I always start really simply and work on patterning some simple things that I can then rely on in the performance when I'm doing more complex choreography. So finding my center, finding how my weight can fall through my structure and rest on my feet so that I can try and find some stability and balance in moments when I'm nervous. And so we'll start simply on the floor, come up to some standing where we find our feet, and then at the very end I'll teach a small phrase from Astral Convertible. So let's spend 5 minutes on the floor to begin. Okay. So I'm going to start first with my legs out in a comfortable place with my arms out by my side. And I like to do this to first quieten my nervous system so that I'm in a place that I can feel some more detail or something a little more refined in my body. And then also I'm often nervous, so it's nice to come back to my center and quieten my nerves a little. So first, I'm just going to start with letting my body rest on the floor. Like Vicky Schick would say, just do absolutely nothing, which is kind of impossible, but I'm going to try for a second to do absolutely nothing. Letting my heels rest into the floor so that my lower leg doesn't have to hold onto my feet. And then I'm letting my sacrum fall through to the floor so that my pelvis can fall away from my legs and my legs can hang out of my pelvis. Pelvis doesn't have to hold on to my legs. And then from there, I'm feeling what parts of my torso touch the floor. And I'm letting the front of my torso fall through to the back of my torso to also come resting. As I'm doing this, I can feel that my pelvis is starting to kind of soften and widen in the back. And I'm breathing all the way down to the base of my sits bones, so expanding through my pelvis, bones, my pelvis move apart, come back together, even if it's only just in my imagination. I'm imagining movement through my skeleton. Weight of my eyes in your sockets. nice and easy and be an easy passageway just for the breath into my torso, so that my neck and my throat don't have to hold my head to my torso, but my head is resting on the floor, my torso is resting on the floor, my neck is just connecting in between, the weight of my pelvis is resting on the floor, the heels are back into the floor, and then my scapula at the back falling away from my ribs. They're also being supported by the floor, so that as I'm breathing, I can feel the movement of my ribs between my scapula. And I'm softening the insides of my elbows, so that the inside of the elbow can fall through to the back of the elbow, the weight of the inside of the elbow. And then the same thing with the palms of my hands, so the insides of the palms of my hand are softening and falling through to come resting on the floor. And then just taking another moment to not think very much, to not have to think these directions into the floor, but just to feel where your body is at the moment. And then I'm going to take my heels and I'm just going to do some rocks back and forward with my heels on the floor, sending movement up through my body. So I'm feeling all of the joints of my body opening and getting smaller and opening and getting smaller from the rocking of my heels. So my spine is lengthening and pulling kind of like a slinky from the bottom. It moves up from the bottom towards the top of my head. I try and feel those places where the movement is not passing through so well, and I let them soften so that this energy from my feet can travel through my body, my arms. I'm moving through my arms on the floor. My head's rocking back and forward, my jaw is easy. And then just let that go, come to resting again, and just feel that kind of the leftover residual movement from that rocking. And then I'm going to take my knees up to the ceiling. With my feet a little wider than hip width apart, and feeling the weight of my thighs falling back into my pelvis, and the weight of my lower legs falling down to my feet, so that my knees have some space there. And then from there, I'm going to let my knees start to fall to one side, seeing what movement, what range I can find in the inside of my hip socket before my pelvis has to roll with the knees. And then I bring weight into the back of my pelvis to roll the legs back up. And then I let my knees, like windshield wiper across to the other side. And then again I find weight in the back of my sacrum to bring the knees back up to the ceiling. And then again I go the other side, knees falling over, taking the pelvis with it. Pelvis falling back, knees coming up, knees falling over, pelvis moving with it, pelvis moving back, knees coming up, knees falling over, pelvis back, knees falling over, pelvis back. And then let's go a little faster. So knees over, pelvis back, knees over, pelvis back, knees over, knees over. Let's let the leg release a little more around, come up. So I'm trailing my big toe along the floor, letting the weight of these knees fall out and up, swinging back. Weight of the legs falling out and up, swinging back. Weight of the knees falling out. So this knee is falling all the way up into my torso. So I'm keeping the movement on the front of my spine here, not letting it fall out into my back, letting that knee swing around up into my torso. And let's make it a little bigger again. So down up, down back, down, up, down, up, back, down, up. So falling away from that opposite arm, letting that opposite shoulder rest on the floor. Trying to get a little more heat in my body. Breathing. And then one last time, finishing with my knees up at the ceiling. Again, taking a moment just to do nothing and feel what that work in the legs has done. Again, imagining these thighs falling back into the pelvis, falling through to the sacrum to widen along the floor. And I'm going to take my legs up to the ceiling, and I'm just going to do a crazy bicycle back and forward. So my legs returning, letting my heels drop down towards my butt, and then bringing my 2 feet up to the ceiling, and just shaking my ankles out. Still checking in that the back of your head is falling through to the floor, being supported by the floor, finding every opportunity you can to do as little as possible. And then coming over onto our hands and knees. I always like to just push back into the arches of my feet. I just give them a nice stretch. Open up the soles of my feet. Shifting from my big toe all the way out to my little toe. Stretching all the way across. And then let's take our pelvis up over our feet, still just with bent knees. My feet are a little wide at the moment. And I'm just going to do some little bounces down into the floor. So I'm letting my belly rest on my thighs, letting the top of my head hang towards the floor. My elbows are easy, my shoulders can fall a little up towards my ears, so the scapula can slide off of the ribs. And as I'm dropping this weight down, I'm trying to imagine that I'm dropping this weight into the very center of my foot. And as I'm dropping that weight down, I'm letting the toes on the ends of my feet nice and easy and soft, so they're not having to grip the floor to help me to stand. They're just going to be there and be available for those moments when I'm not on center and then I do need them to help me stand. So for the moment, they're easy. So we're trying to find that down into the floor and that rebound back up through the center of the foot, through into the back of your sacrum. And then just dropping that down, letting the head come up, letting the pelvis hang away from the legs, and then again taking the weight of the face forward to bring the pelvis up over the legs. Little stretch now. Still standing on the center of your foot. And then from here, let's take our feet a little wider. And just shifting from side to side, letting your belly rest on your thigh. Each time you're shifting, finding your weight in the very center of the foot. Almost like that center is a really fine nail or something that you're coming to each time, really clearly directing it into the middle. And then as we're going from side to side, let's just start to let the torso trail a little. So kind of like there's some figure eights or something on the floor. Still the head is hanging, shoulders still hanging up towards the ears, and we're pushing from the floor and using the work from the legs up into the torso and into the top of the head. And then as we're going side to side, let's make it a little larger where we get a slight suspend out each side. So sharp, that back down. Let's bring our feet back together. Moving over again just for a second. And then I'm going to let my pelvis sink back towards my heels, finding the center of the foot, pushing into the center of the foot to roll up the insides of the legs, up the front of the torso, up the front of the spine, to the very top of my head. I have this great downward direction with my feet, and this upward energy through my head. And from here, I'm going to do some simple plies. I'm going to start in an easy first. And what I do to plie is I imagine that I have this upward energy from the base of my pelvis to start the plie. As that rises to my head, I let my knees escape, and then I come down into the center of the foot. And then rather than pushing from the floor, I again lift from the base of my pelvis to come up through my spine to arrive again. As that continues up, I let my knees slide out. I come into my feet, I push, and I lift up through the base of my pelvis. So I lift, let my knees out, I sink, I lift to lift my torso off of my legs to come back up. And again, so lifting to sink into the center of my feet, lifting again to come back up. Let's do that all the way into a rise from parallel. So I sink down, I lift off of my legs, I keep lifting that up. I lift that up to the top of my feet, and then from here I keep that height through my skull, and I see if I can let my heels release away in the other direction to take me back into the floor. And then I soften back down, and then I lift from the base of my pelvis up through my spine to take me up to the ceiling, and then I let my heels fall away while I keep that height to take me back into the floor. Let's just do one more. I lift up, all the way to the top of my skull. You can do these weird arms too, if it helps you. Let's check it out. Let's just go through our feet a little bit. And then let's get on to some phrase material in a moment. Let's just do a quick little thing for the arms, which I'm going to steal from 4MG, the movie, another piece of Trisha's. Let's just start with our arms out in front of us. A little plie to drop the arms. Little plie to drop the arms. Little plie, drop up. Little plie, drop up. So I keep my scapular down the back of my torso. Forward, turn it up, nice long good line, forward down the room, to the side of the room, let's do other side, left, turn it up, let's do right, so kind of mapping out my body in relationship to forward, to the side, a swing into a clear line. Swing into a clear line. Swing into a clear line. Okay. This is the part where we now just jump into doing complex material. I never know quite how to transition this. So, for all of those simple things to form the basis of what I need as the choreography gets more complicated. So we're going to start pushing pushing up to the side. My hands are meeting. I'm stepping my right leg out to the side, away from my left. I'm actually facing upstage. 2 feet. Pushing out to the right side of my body. Hopefully these hands are visible downstage on the right side. Turning out my left leg. And I'm trying to keep this line that I have from my foot through to the top of my head. I'm throwing my arms down and I'm stepping around that leg. So I push out, turn it out, I throw it down, and I step across. Push it out, turn it out, throw it down, step across. From my heel through to the top of my head, my arms are throwing down, ending out on the diagonal, and I'm turning around my body. I'm dropping my left arm, come around, back to the side. So push across, turn it out, arms around, step. I'm swinging my arms across, my left arm's in front, and my right arm's back. I swing them down as they're coming back up, pushing around on my right leg, take my torso with the arms. I'm ending up with my arms upstage, downstage. So across our body, throw it down, shift, come back up. And here I'm kind of like perched up on my right and left foot. So we've gone flat foot, heel, step across, and perch it up. Let's get the swing in there too from these arms. So from the side, drop out, drop up, push across. We throw it down, out, drop up, push across, throw out, drop up, push across, throw out, drop up. We're dropping our left arm. I'll just change the angle so you can see what's happening there. We're dropping our left arm, my right arm, and stepping across. So here we are, we're perched up. We do a little drop, it kind of hits, for me to fall across. Drop, hit, fall across. So we're here. Can't quite see this left arm at the back, but I drop it first, step across, and then I'm going to take both my arms up, hanging them out of this diagonal, to come up and around the corner. Kind of, what's this action? Something that is not just straight, but that has a curve through it. From this right arm, left arm, step across, curve it onto the right leg to come back up. So we're here. We go. Right arm, left arm, across, up, curve around, to step out. Right arm, left arm, up, down, pivot, out. So I'm pivoting, I'm landing on my right leg. I'm staying on my right leg as I'm pivoting around and turning it out. So my weight's never quite getting over my left leg, never coming onto it. Let's go back to the beginning and try and add that. So we push out to the right side, down, out, shift up, drop right, step across, around the corner, pivot, around the corner, pivot, arm up to the right. Let's do that a few times. Push out, stay back, drop right, shift across, around the corner, up to the right side. Let's do it again. Step across. Up, down, up, back, step through. Step across, drop, finished here. Shift. Turn around. So hard to do slow when there's no momentum. We're out. We shift. Again, I stay back. So I found this line. I'm trying to keep this line here. I'm trying to turn around that line to step across. Around the corner. Out to the right. Fall back. Arms come up overhead and they come through. Around the corner. Up. Drop. Through. Leg. Let's go to the beginning. We go. Push out. Down, up. Drop. Shift across. Curve. Up to the right. Stay back. Leg through. Leg through. Swing the arms to bring the other leg up. Around the corner. Up. Whoop, drop through. Up. Drop. Stay back. Swing arms. Right, left. Step across. Around the corner. Up to the diagonal. Keep it back. Through. Arms up. Keep falling back. So where are we? We're here. We're staying back. Trying to stay back. We're forward here. As the arms are swinging up to take the leg up, we're again then trying to stay back the other way. So constantly leaning. From my right arm around, I shift, come through, I'm forward, I'm back, my arm, and then my foot. So I'm up on the diagonal, I go arm through, foot through, fall to catch. Up on the diagonal, arm, foot, fall, catch. Oh, there's another arm. Where am I? I'm here. Arm, I'll go through slow. I'm here. Arm, foot, fall, left arm, catch it. We're here. I go arm, foot, fall, left arm, catch. We're here. I'm falling, right arm, left foot, left arm, catch. Let's go just from here. I fall back, up and over. I fall back the other way, right arm, left foot, left catch. I'm here. I shift and fall back. Fall back the other way. I'm here. Come down. Up, 1, 2, 3, catch. Let's go from the beginning. Push across. Stay back. Arms set. Right, left. Step across around the corner. Right leg. Keep it back. Swing through. Fall back the other way. Oh. I like this moment when I'm falling back. My legs come through here. I keep falling. And I'm off balance. My torso is moving forward first. And then my legs have to move underneath me to save me. Let's go to the beginning. Push across. Finding the swing through the arms to help get me through. Two more times. Here we go. Push across. Stay back. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Through, fall back, right, left, left. Let's do it again with that swing of the arms coming around. Drop, up, drop, up, up, through, up, keep it up, so that they can help take their torso up out of the floor. Help support me as I get tired. We're pushing to the side and drop. Up, drop, up, keep it back. Head falls back the other way. Arms come through. let's do a quick little warm down. So, that's great, this sense of swing that leads up into the torso and then into the leg. That really helps me through all of this stuff to keep finding time and finding length and finding more range. And I'd rather of thinking of just my arm as being here at my shoulder, that my arm can extend all the way into my body. That's useful as I'm trying to get through this long, difficult piece. So let's start with our feet together. Let's find the top of our head and the center of our feet again. And then from here, letting your face melt forward, diving down the front of your body, letting your sternum soften back to make room for your head. Scapular still hanging down the back of your spine. Letting your pelvis move back a little to make room for the skull, diving forward. When we get to our femur heads, letting the pelvis roll around the femurs and letting the shoulders hang up towards the ears. And the elbows soften out to the sides. And then a little softening, little plie, melting into the center of the foot again. And then from the pelvis, lifting the pelvis up to the ceiling. And then again, softening into the center of the foot. Pelvis up to the ceiling. Softening into the center of the foot. Dropping the sacrum towards your heels. Pushing into the middle of the foot to roll up the insides of the legs, up the front of the spine, to the top of the skull. And then again, just finding my feet down into the floor. Finding my head balanced in the other direction. My scapula nice and easy down my back. Great. Thank you for joining me. I'm so sweaty now. I hope that you got something out of that. I hope it was interesting. And if you haven't already, I hope to see you at the performances at the Joyce. And yeah, it's such an exciting, big show for me. I first started dancing these pieces back in 2011, so it's been a nice return to them after all these years. Great, thank you so much. All the best. Thank you.